And
All
then
right. All right.
go over here to our Facebook family. Go live.
Bam. Well, this is a nice, unique opportunity where we get to do this a day early.
Yes, a
And
day
we get to-
early. Because,
Yep.
you know, life happens for us. And, you know, there's some things that you have to take advantage of time-wise in your schedule. So we're here.
So what are people listening to right now? People are listening to the episode 17 of Party at the Summit podcast. And we've taken the liberty over the last 17 weeks to not just do an audio, but to create a visual that you can come with us, join us live. We actually happen to do this on Facebook. That's the platform we're using now so that you can interact and exchange with us visually. And who knows where this is going to go, but we're honored. I'm privileged to be able to do this every week with you, Gail, and for those that are being attracted to the message.
And let's just get it out of the way. This is October 13th, and you celebrated a big birthday yesterday. So in honor of you, Stephen Trezek, happy 44th birthday. I, as well as hundreds, if not thousands of people out there, are grateful that you took that first breath on or around 8 a.m. on October 12th, 1977.
I'm blushing again. Like, it's interesting, and I'll make this short, but like birthdays aren't as significant as they used to be. It's just another year of opportunity and experience. And people are like, well, how old are you? You mean how young I am? I'm 44 years young, and I never knew 44 could feel as great as it does. So it's exciting. And, you know, once you have children, I have, you know, my daughter is 9, my son is 8.
Your daughter is 10.
10. Oh, geez, 10. See, I still have to wrap my head around. I have a double-digit daughter, and she's 10 years young, and they just take priority for birthday celebrations, not because society says so. It's because I choose that to be the way that it is.
And her birthday is real close to yours, so that makes a difference too.
Yeah, we're about a week apart. So yeah, thank you so much, and I appreciate all the great wishes and the messages, and I'm really humbled, and I'm ready to serve and bring even a higher level of value in this 44th year of existence on this planet.
Woo! Gosh.
Yeah.
God bless us for your life in the next, 364 days now. Well, we're going to talk today. Recently, our friend Amy Izzo,
the awesome Amy Izzo, yeah,
posted a question in a picture on her timeline. It says, what are 3 words you would say to your 18-year-old self? And she had a lot of responses. I had some, I made my response. You made your response. And then I posted just recently on my timeline couple days ago, that same question, and I've received probably about 45 responses. Oh, let's say 44 responses on my timeline for that. And, I kind of broke it down into some different categories, Steve. I thought, there's the emotional side, there's the emotional responses, there's the relationship responses. Those are like, don't marry so-and-so, or he's the right one, and I don't know how old or young these people are, but you know what? I happen to be married to my best friend for 43 years now. So I would go with, at 18.
That's something to celebrate.
Okay. So financial and physical, I broke it down into those 4 categories, and the emotional category. So the emotional responses were way outweighed. 22 emotional responses versus 9 relational, 7 financial. Hey, my husband even said buy Netflix stocks. Someone else said buy Amazon stocks. Hindsight's always 20/20. And then like 3 people I put in the category of physical, and that's interesting. And I know I'm just going to share a little bit of my story. So because it takes us back. Some people couldn't even answer that. They said, that's too deep of a question. And so I probed a little bit with them, wanting to why that must be an emotional response. And you and I messaged, you said distress, you are where your attention is. And people, the emotional distress, not all of it was distressful, but think back when you're 18. When you're 18, you think you know it all, right? And then it comes to life happens. And then you come to the understanding. You don't know, and then you understand, that's what it is. So now that I understand what life's about, let me go back and answer that 3 words to that 18-year-old person. 18 year young. If Steve's saying it's 18 you're 18 years young. And
we'll just say your 18-year young self.
Your 18-year young self. Yeah. So on April 4th, 1978, I turned 18. On April 15th, I got married. In June, in May, I went to prom with my husband at 18. In June, I graduated from high school, Gail Marie Swenson Zintech. And October, I was 18 and I had my first child. So what did I say to my 18-year young self? Now at 61, that was 43 years ago. I like when you were a baby, Steve, you were just a baby. Mm-hmm. And I say to myself, great job, mama. Because, being a mom at 18, that took courage, and I didn't do everything right. Who does at 18, right? But now that I understand, I can look back and say I did a great job with what I had, with who I was. You, on the other hand, answered that question, know your worth. So I want to get into the mind of Steve Trzek and your response of know your worth and how you respond to your young self at 18.
Great. Well, first off, this is a great question altogether. And to reiterate the question that was asked originally on Amy Izzo's Facebook post was, you meet your 18-year young self, the version of you at 18. You're allowed to say 3 words. What do you say? And it's interesting because how many times, even in this present as adults, we tell ourselves, because we're all desiring change to some extent, some degree. If I knew what I knew now, I would have done this different, or I would have told myself, the younger version of myself, to do this. And that's where, like, when I really peeled back the question, and you said that some people are really challenged in answering the question, which I agree, because it is a thought-provoking, deeper introspective question, because it's positioning you to be somewhat vulnerable. And I also see that within this question, people are probably trying to find themselves, of who they are, how they landed here, and then how would they alter or change the course in which that they would have arrived in whatever age they currently are. But what you have to understand and realize, and here's why I answered the question the way I did, is that everything starts inside of you, not externally. I use a phrase, it's 3 words that people can take away from this conversation. And those 3 words are value your value. What are your values? What do you value? So know your worth really came from the fact that most people, when they seek change or they desire to have some sort of modification in their life, I mean, be it emotionally, be it financially, physically, and what was the 4th category that you broke it down? Okay, so relationship wise, we're asking ourselves, what's it going to cost me? Are you asking yourself, what is it going to cost me? Or are you asking yourself, what is it worth to me?
Cost versus worth.
Cost versus worth. And then you said something earlier, because you did ask me, you said, hey, I found something very interesting. And you sent me a snapshot of what you've written out about categorizing the 4 different types of responses per the question. And my immediate response I saw was heavily weighed on the emotional aspect. And then there was a little teeny bit of health and physical insight that you wanted to deliver yourself when you were 18 years young. And my immediate response was, that's interesting. You are where your attention is. Mm-hmm. So let's make that practical for a moment. And this also goes with your worth. Because the hardest thing for people to accept, and here's the truth. Hardest thing for people to accept is that the life that they are currently living is the one that they feel that they deserve, or the one they feel they're worth. Now let that sink in for a second. The life you're currently living, whether it be through your relationships, whether it be financially, whether it be through your health and fitness, whether it be the state in which you operate from an emotional perspective most of the time throughout the day, you're living that quality of lifestyle because that's what you feel you deserve. And it's what you feel you're worth. It's not until you know what your worth is, working from the inside out, can you actually start creating change. We're too often waiting for external circumstances to be ideal, and then I'm emotionally going to be happy. What if I just chose to say, I'm going to be happy? Because that's a default setting. Let's put that in practical terms for a second. Let's look at when I said you are where your attention is. Gail, where is the attention of healthy people?
On nutrition, on movement, on their attention is on themselves, really.
Yeah, movement, on eating nutritious foods, getting enough H2O, staying hydrated, understanding our body operates efficiently. We have better clarity. Our blood thickens if we're dehydrated, and all those things that are important for health. So the attention goes to the routines in which are going to promote healthier living. That's what healthy people do. It's not a coincidence. You don't just wake up being healthy. It's because you put your attention into the strategies and characteristics it takes to become healthy. How about an unhealthy person? Where's their attention?
Oh, gosh. On what's...
Hey, Gail, think back to about 3 years ago.
Yeah, right. I know my attention was on, just being like sitting at my computer and doing my work and grabbing something, going out to eat for dinner because I was too lazy to plan, prepare, and cook my own food. So yeah, that's where my attention was.
Unhealthy people, their attention goes to junk food, staying up late, watching Netflix, being on social media, all day, just being distracted, not focusing on, the things that are important to their health or overall quality of health. Laying down, can't wait to go sit on the couch after work, after a long day. I just want to go sit and relax. Yeah. So that's where unhealthy people, that's where their attention is. Now let's think from an emotional standpoint, because emotion happened to be a very high popular response. Let's just talk about happiness. Because I believe that most people, correct me if I'm wrong, but we just want to be happier. Like we do things so that we believe that if we do enough things, we become happier. False. We work a backwards model on that. Just look at happy people for a moment. Happy people, Gail, where is their attention?
On gratitude, on appreciation.
Yep. Gratitude, appreciation, fulfillment, abundance.
When I was driving, like there was something, I post a lot on social media, like some people go, oh, there she is again. But you know what? Here's the thought I had. I just want everybody to see my life through my lenses because I am happy. Like everything I want to share. I want to share the trees turning color. I want to share the swans learning to fly. I want to share, like everywhere I go, I see abundance and I'm appreciative of everything around me. And, some people, they just show up on social media, the highlight reel. Well, my life's a highlight reel. So I just want to share that. That's where I'm living. I'm living in appreciation and gratitude.
Yeah. So think about the characteristics in which create happiness. Inside, like happiness is an inside job. It's an inside game. You just said it: gratitude, appreciation, abundance. How about service to other people? Like when we serve people and bring value, it makes me happy. It's because I'm choosing for that to be happy. How about achievement? How about being optimistic? being fulfilled. Like those are qualities that create happy people. Like happy people, that's where their attention's at. Now, on the other side of that, how about unhappy people? Where's their attention?
One of the responses was, don't trust anyone.
Ooh.
Those were the 3 words. And I was like, that just like, I actually paused for a moment and went to this gal's profile. Like, how do I know you? How can I just wanted to reach out and say, wow, where is that? Where are those 3 words coming from? Because those are deep emotional words. And, that trust is a word. I used the word trust with you recently on our conversation in the transformation method. The word trust was brought up. I don't trust myself. I don't like, so trust is an interesting word. And that just really struck me. Speak on that. Like, where, don't trust anyone. How would you respond to that?
Oh, I would ask the question, what's your reputation with yourself? What's your reputation with yourself? Because our life is a reflection of us. What we see on the outside is a reflection of who we are on the inside. And if you don't believe me, challenge yourself. If distrust in others is a potential, we'll call challenge, then ask yourself, how well do you trust yourself? Because life is a reflection of you. Our life is a reflection of us. And once we actually make a change, and it's interesting because that was brought up in our conversation. It wasn't brought up by you. I think you had delved into that. I think you had elaborated on that process. But the attention was, well, I just don't trust other people. Well, then it goes to the patterns of focus. Are you focused on what you can control or can't control? I know that I can control the trust I have within myself, and that really comes from self-confidence. Because when I have greater self-confidence, I know that I'm making and keeping the promises I make to myself. So it just starts with one simple step inside that unlocks really how we perceive and how we interpret everything on the outside. So that's a very interesting response. And I'm not surprised by the response, but that's unhappy. Listen, if we're going to categorize it, I ask the question, hey, happy people, where's their attention? How about unhappy people? Where's their attention? Unhappy people's attention is on what? Lack, what they don't have. It's on worry. It's on fear. It's what they're concerned about, what other people are going to say or how they respond to what they do. Stress, anxiety. Like there's so many things that we put our attention to. So it makes us unhappy.
It
produces unhappy emotions.
Our thoughts, right? The quality of our thoughts and the emotions behind those thoughts. We can't control the thoughts that come in, but we can control the emotion, how long those thoughts remain, and the emotion we put into those thoughts that come into our little brains.
Absolutely. So the question of what are 3 words that you would tell your 18-year-old version of yourself or 18-year young version of yourself? Think about where you're currently at and where you choose to put your attention. Because when I say know your worth, that means that I'm focused on valuing my value. And if I knew what I knew now, then I'd have a completely different trajectory, I believe, in how my life would be. But I'm not dissatisfied with it because I'm here for a reason. I'm blissfully dissatisfied.
And each of our journeys that we live, our path is set so other people can, we're drawn to other people, like the reflection. You and I met, and like we are drawn. It's a law of attraction, right? We're blessed with the law of like attracts like. So, gosh, we could this could go in so many different. My mind is just going a million miles an hour right now in just like the environment we live in, and we're like we're down to the 22 minutes past of our conversation today. But man, it's so important. So here's what I take out of this. Value your value, know your worth, value your value, where you are today, is not where you're going to be in a year from now, 5 years from now. And that's a great thing. And it's up to you. You can choose. You get to choose where you're going to be a year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, based on the quality of your thoughts and the quality of your emotions that you put into whatever age yourself is now. So bookmark today, whatever age. I'm 61 years young. Steve's 44 years young. Bookmark today. In 5 years, what are you going to look back and tell that 61-year-old self, 61-year young self? And think on that. Think on that, especially those of you who it's hard for you to come up with 3 words to say to that 18-year-old self. It's okay.
Yeah, we have a massive capacity to make a change in our life or elevate who we choose to be when we consciously place our attention in that direction. So if you're not satisfied with the current state or condition that you're living in, it could be in any of those categories. There's several. It's like the thermostats, the thermostat on the wall. There's several different categories in which we gauge our temperatures. Move your attention and then keep your attention in that place that's going to serve you versus that's going to take away from you. So know your worth. I challenge you. I want you to consciously focus on worth, not cost. It's not costing you anything other than some of the emotions that you may be experiencing that are causing you to take specific actions that aren't serving you, or maybe inaction. So that's the takeaway.
There you go.
Value your value. And it's such a great question. And if you're watching this and you did answer the question, I encourage you, go back and reconsider your response. So
there we go.
All right. Now that's a Wednesday worth repeating.
That is a Wednesday, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Party at the Summit podcast. Gail Zintek and Steve Trzecek. We'll be back.
You ready to go? Say let's go. We'll see you next week.
Let's go.
Let's go.